Wing.
My daughter, she loves baseball. She's been playing T-ball ever since coming up, so she always begging me, Dad, take me to the game, take me to the game.
So it's important enough to skip school for her?
Yes, I give her that day off, yes.
I like it out of 10. I like it 10.
The pitching, the batting, the fielding, the picture taking, and the autographs. A day full of R&R for a group of patriots who don't often see much of it in their line of work.
Relax.
I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Other Dodger alumni at the event included Bill Ashley and Roy Gleason. While Spanish language media is teaming with elected leaders for the largest local citizenship drive of its kind. As Gil Reyes reports, the goal is to naturalize nearly 1 million eligible residents throughout LA County.
Nicaraguan citizen Thelma Cuevas is finally taking the plunge. After nearly 30 years living in the United States, she and her husband are finally filing papers to become American citizens.
There is no more important issue than to get the immigrant community to be part of our community and part of our society.
At NALEO headquarters in downtown, immigrant rights groups announced the biggest citizenship drive of its kind in LA County history. The plan, to naturalize 755,000 green card holders. These are permanent U.S. residents who've been in the country for 5 years or more, who can now take steps to become U.S. citizens.
For every single new citizen, we see $1.17 more added to the economy for all of us. So our wages, those of us who are already citizens, go up when more people become citizens. We know what it means for voter turnout. We know what it means for your rights. You can actually run for things like mayor when you become a citizen.
LA Mayor Eric Garcetti says the city, county, and Spanish language media are teaming up for an advertising blitz to get the word out that the process is safe. The call center at NALEO has bilingual operators standing by to guide you through the citizenship process. Asian Pacific Islanders, Europeans, and other green card holders in LA County are also invited to dive right into the great American melting pot. But it all starts with a phone call. As you can see, operators here at NALEO headquarters waiting for your call Monday through Friday. Simply call the number at the bottom of your screen, 1-888-839-8682. In downtown LA, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
La Piñon, Telemundo 52, and Univision 34 are just some of the local media outlets getting the word out. While Mayor Eric Garcetti honors student veterans, Wells Fargo helps those veterans get the services they need, and community members celebrate improvements of a hidden treasure near USC. All these stories and more in City Beat. For the second year in a row, 9th District Councilman Curran Price recently held a staff appreciation luncheon at his district office on Central Avenue, honoring city employees and departments. Price said that he wanted to show his appreciation for all of his staff's hard work.
Each of these persons here has some role to play with improving the quality of life for us here in District 9. And we just want to say thank you.
A student veteran ceremony hosted by the Veterans Resource Center was held recently at LA Mission College in Sylmar. Mayor Eric Garcetti spoke at the event, which honored veterans. The theme was helping them achieve their educational goals. The mayor, who is a Navy veteran, said that jobs, education, and housing for veterans are top priorities, adding that since last January, the city has found housing for more than 4,000 homeless vets.
My promise to you as mayor, I won't just say thanks for your service, but if you need help with a job, with education, with finding housing, we are here to make sure that happens.
Mayor Garcetti also joined Wells Fargo recently to present a $50,000 grant to New Directions for Veterans, which provides homeless veterans with transitional housing services, along with mental health and substance abuse treatment, job training and placement, legal assistance, and financial education.
Together, I believe that we can restore hope for those who have protected our freedom. And today, that is what we celebrate.
And it's amazing the support our veterans are seeing today, especially from the mayor's office, putting that as a top priority.
Boyle Heights community members and city officials recently came out for a ribbon cutting and celebration of upgrades at Ramona Gardens and Hazard Park, including a new jogging path and outdoor exercise equipment. The upgrades are part of $1 million in park improvements negotiated by Councilmember Jose Huizar with the University of Southern California. The basketball and tennis courts were also upgraded, and a new toddler playground was installed.
we're glad for this little path they made, this bridge they made, the sidewalk that we could be able to walk around and exercise.
This park has had a lot of history, and a lot of people care about it.
A little holiday cheer in LA's East Side as Councilmember Gil Cedillo passes out turkeys to the community. Ana Marcos brings us more from the Lincoln Heights Senior Center.
An orderly chaos as hundreds of Lincoln Heights residents line up for their free turkey, a holiday gift from Councilmember Gil Cedillo. This is the annual turkey drive at the Lincoln Heights Senior Center.
I cannot tell you how much I love coming here. This is my favorite event each year.
What else are you going to make with it?
Pozole and tamales.
Pozole, tamales, and turkey?
Yeah.
We want to spend with my daughter who lives in Rancho Cucamonga.
This is obviously a working class community of modest means, but giant hearts and great appreciation.
Gina Escamilla and her baby Luna joined the crowds in hopes of getting one of the holiday birds.
It'd be nice to have a turkey. I was thinking of getting a chicken, but it'd be nice to get a turkey. You know, for her, she loves, it's her first Thanksgiving too, so you want to make it special.
A total of 500 turkeys will help make these people's holiday this year. But if you just turn up hoping to get one, you're out of luck. You had to be pre-registered.
Escamilla and others who didn't register have to wait and hope that there are extra turkeys left.
Maybe in 30 minutes or 1 hour we have to wait.
So you might not get turkey.
Even if I do or don't get turkey, I'm still going to try my best to have a good Thanksgiving dinner.
Luckily, some people never show up to claim their registered turkeys, which means most of those here, from sleepy babies to hopeful grannies, will get their holiday bird after all. I'm Ana Marcos for LA This Week.
Well, it's a sports competition that's been around for 31 years, with some players well into their 90s. Rich Samuels reports on lawn bowling.
Lawn bowling has roots that go back to 13th century England, and it's still a popular sport at Holmby Park in West LA.
Anybody can join, any age. Majority of the people are a little older because it's a sport that's social, outdoors, and low impact.
The object of the game is for your team, if you're bowling team, to get your bowls closest to the jack. The jack is the target bowl.
The Department of Recreation and Parks served as host recently for the Jocelyn Mixed Triples Tournament at Holmby Park, one of many competitions held internationally.
It's just a lovely, lovely sport. Nice people, and very, very friendly. And the nice thing about it is that you can go all year round.
With 17 clubs across the Southland, it seems that lawn bowling is destined to be around for another 700 years. From Holmby Park in West Los Angeles, this is Rich Samuels for LA This Week.
The competition is named after Marcellus Jocelyn, founder of the Jocelyn Foundation, a benefactor of many senior organizations, including lawn bowling clubs. While decorated sailboats and ships light up the LA waterfront, a unique market puts the spotlight on local artists, and grab your skates for a magical time on ice. All this in this week's Things to Do. Los Angeles Harbor sparkles with holiday lights during the free and festive 53rd Annual Holiday Afloat Parade. Officials and community leaders will take part in the parade as judges or passengers on approximately 60 boats parading along the LA waterfront. Participating vessels are of all shapes and sizes, including powerboats, sailboats, tall ships, and harbor working craft. There are several viewing locations affording spectators unencumbered views of the elaborately decorated boats and the opportunity for friends and family to join in the celebration, whether taking advantage of the many restaurants and clubs at Port SoCal or organizing an informal potluck. Check it out on Saturday, December 5th at 6 p.m. at the Port of Los Angeles. For more, visit portoflosangeles.org. Described as the largest Made in America shopping event in the country, the 8th annual Unique USA Holiday Market features clothes, accessories, and art pieces from a number of quality handmade brands. Check out local products and rub elbows with the different designers and artists showcasing their work. Take a break with locally made food, plus free drinks, snacks, and photo booth portraits. Free gift wrapping for the holiday season is also available, along with free DIY craft projects all weekend long. The market takes place on Saturday, December 5th and Sunday, December 6th at the California Market Center, located at 110 East 9th Street in downtown. For more, visit uniqueusa.com. The annual LA Kings Holiday Ice brings outdoor ice skating to LA Live's Microsoft Square. Skate around the dazzling Christmas tree that stands in the middle of this outdoor rink and take in an LED holiday light show on the huge screens around the plaza. For the perfect date night, book the supper and skating deal, which includes a prix-fixe dinner at a handful of LA Live restaurants. The ice rink is open through December 31st and located at 800 West Olympic Boulevard. For more info, visit lalive.com/events. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kay, and from all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Don't hurt me this way. Don't touch me this way.
When a physical encounter occurs between man and machine, the machine always wins. Please, don't lose. Obey all the rules of the road.
Don't let me make the same mistake again.
Don't worry, Patty. This isn't going to hurt me one bit. Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Shapiro in beautiful Encino, and you're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel. Open wide.
Sergeants, please call the members, have them report to the council chambers. I want to thank Mr. Fuentes and Mr. O'Farrell for being today's members of the Please report to the council chambers so we can... Sergeants, please call the members, and Mr. Koretz has arrived. Okay, Mr. Fuentes, we don't have a quorum as of yet, but you want to start the presentation part of the program? Are you ready, sir?
Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, colleagues. Thank you, Mr. O'Farrell. So, colleagues, you know, since we started, most of us, the class of 2013 at least, since we took office 2 years ago, we have all witnessed a growing need and challenge in the city of Los Angeles with homelessness. And much has been spoken about and reported about as it relates to what is happening with this city. And I made it a point when I took office to make it a priority in my field office and in City Hall to figure out how it is that we could best address the issues of homelessness facing not just the city of Los Angeles, but my council district. And what we've done is we've partnered with a lot of social service agencies, such as Los Angeles Family Housing, and the Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority, and most recently, we have asked them to co-locate their service in one of our city facilities in the Sunland Tujunga office. And it didn't come without a little controversy, but we did it because we firmly believe that the answer to addressing this challenge is service delivery. So I'm really excited that they've been willing to partner with us. But I think the work doesn't stop there. The partnership continues, obviously, larger than just service providers. It's one that we have to do with the community. And I'm very, very excited today because on November 5th, at the Sylmar Christian Fellowship Church, more than 25 service providers and organizations came together to help the neediest of our communities, to help the homeless. And it was largely planned and worked with the community. And I think it's a real example of how it is that we have to tackle this problem. We have a significant amount of resources that we can contribute to the conversation, but until we start addressing the crisis of the heart in this city on how it is that we're going to address this problem, I don't think we're going to get terribly far. But on November 5th, we had more than 150 individuals who received services, which included meals, showers, vaccines, hygiene kits, legal help, a citation clinic to address some of the issues that they've had, and obviously connections to housing. This was truly a team effort in which every single one of us should be proud, and certainly the folks who did the work should be even more proud. This event demonstrated, colleagues, that through partnerships and collaborations in the community, we can make a dent in this crisis. And so I wanted to highlight and thank Los Angeles County Supervisors Kuehl and Antonovich, even though it wasn't in his district, he's been helping us on the other side of my district, City Attorney Mike Fuhr, and our State Senator Bob Hertzberg and their staff. And while not all of the organizations and the service providers are here today, there are a list of folks that I'd like to read to you who did help us with this. The Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority, the Office of City Attorney Mike Fuhr, Northeast Valley Health Corporation, the San Fernando Valley Rescue Mission, Hope of the Valley Rescue Mission, Western Barber Institute, Shears Barber Services, Neighborhood Legal Services, Hillview Mental Health Center, MEND, the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health Advocates, the Village Family Health Services and Health Advocates, LA County Department of Public Social Services, the Los Angeles Synergy Lions Club, the San Fernando Community Health Center, and the Sylmar Neighborhood Council, who was a tremendous part of this conversation. I think it's emblematic of what neighborhood councils can do, and in Sylmar they are putting their words with action to make sure that we get things done. So I think, colleagues, that the list that I read to you deserves a round of applause. Now I'd like to introduce to you Ann Job. She's the president of the Sylmar Neighborhood Council, and she has a few words. Ann?
Thank you. And thank you, Councilmember Fuentes, for being such a huge part of this. It showed so much about how the community can come together on a big issue. I am terribly impressed with Angelica Ayala and Abigail Moreno. They are from Kuhl's office and from Fuentes' office, and it showed how communities with county and city working seamlessly to pull this thing off. They are my heroes, those two women, and they certainly need to be acknowledged. Angelica cannot be here because she's at a homeless summit, of course. Sylmar Neighborhood Council decided we are charged with expressing what is important to us for the next year. And we picked homelessness to be what was important to us for this year. And in large measure, because for the first time, Sylmar was involved in the all-important homeless count. And it was discovered, some of us probably knew that we had more than people had acknowledged, but that we have over 400 homeless that were mostly up in the hills and so out of sight. And when we realized that, the Sylmar Neighborhood Council said, then homelessness has got to be what we care about this year. And we're just so fortunate to have you as our partner in doing this. It just drives it all home. No one can do it alone. We have got to do it together. And happily, that's what's happening in Sylmar. And I want to thank you personally for being such a partner, a good partner in this for us.
Thank you. So, colleagues, I think it's a great example of what neighborhood councils can spearhead and partner with us and actually help us do more than just report the issues that we've got. They're helping us solve the challenges that we've got. And I should note that this Homeless Connect Day might be the first in Sylmar. It's not the first for Council District 7. We began in Sunland Tujunga, and we will continue to do these Homeless Connect Days and marry our efforts in the community with the policy challenges and choices that we make here in City Hall. Next, let me bring up Oscar Polanco of the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority to say a few words as well.
Let's give Oscar a round of applause. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, guys. And I just want to also thank Felipe Fuentes and his office for allowing LASA to be rooted in the community in Sunland Tujunga. It's a lot easier for us to go out into the Spa 2 area and do what we do, which is help the homeless. And I just want to say this Homeless Connect Day was very successful, and I think it's because from the beginning there was a lot of positive energy from all the service providers and city and county entities. And I just want to thank you guys for allowing us to be part of that effort. So, there's not much else to say other than thank you, and we hope we continue working together and making an impact out in the community.
Thanks, Oscar.
Yeah, thank you.
So, colleagues, you see standing behind me a very impressive group of people who all share the same mission that we do, which is to say that we need to address this challenge. And as important as we are here in City Hall, as important as the County of Los Angeles is, as I mentioned, it's a crisis of the heart. We're going to have to figure out how to touch people in a way that they understand that we all have an obligation to contribute to the solution. And I don't admire the challenge that my chairs have, Mr. Huizar and Mr. Harris-Dawson, in that committee, because it is a big task. But I feel good about our chances in actually really moving the needle because of the folks that are standing here today. This is the answer. These are the solutions. It's our job to figure out how to get them the resources. So give them another round of applause, colleagues. Thank you very much. We've got certificates for everybody. Everybody needs another certificate, and we'll go ahead and do that on the side. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Fuentes. Madam Clerk, we do have a quorum. Could you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Harris-Dawson, Huizar, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rue, Wesson. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Huizar moves, Koretz seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Blumenfield moves, Cedillo seconds. Next.
Mr. President, there's a request to continue item 1 to Tuesday, December 8th.
Okay, so without objection, that will be the order. Continue.
Items 1 through 6 are items for which public hearings have been held. Committee reports for items 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 have all been submitted and circulated for council consideration.
Okay, members, any specials, members? I do not see any. Why don't we prepare to vote on these items? Let's open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, that brings us where?
Items 7 and 8 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. Do we have cards?
Yes, there are cards on 7 and 8.
Let's hold those items and continue.
Mr. President, that takes council back to presentations, item called special or general public comment.
Okay, Mr. Koretz, are you ready with your presentation? So we'll just go on to the presentation portion. So, Mr. Koretz, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. I'm delighted today to be honoring...
Let's get close. Let me stop. Get close, Mr. Parker. Come on. Tighten up. We like you. Welcome.
We're tighten up.
All right, Mr. Koretz.
Well, as you can see, this is a UCLA presentation, and I'm honored to be recognizing one of our truly wonderful institutions, UCLA Film and Television Archive, which is now celebrating its 50th anniversary. We all know that Los Angeles is historic home to the motion picture and television industries, and this archive is a crucial part of why that's so, because even as we look to the future, it's essential that we're knowledgeably preserving the past, and the archive leads the way in doing that. On this special occasion, we are joined by Jan Christopher Horak, Director of the UCLA Film and Television Archive, and Keith Parker, whom we all know, Assistant Vice Chancellor of Government and Community Relations for UCLA. We also have with us some tremendous people as well, Kelly Grammel and Jennifer Rhee of the archive, Todd Cheney of UCLA Photography, and Carmen Healy and Marco Perez of UCLA.
Let's give them all a round of applause. Welcome. Welcome.
The archive was founded on December 16, 1965 as part of the UCLA School of Theater, Film, and Television, and it's internationally renowned for its pioneering efforts to rescue, preserve, and showcase moving image media, and is dedicated to ensuring that our collective visual memory is explored and enjoyed for generations to come. The archive is one of the largest repositories of moving image materials in the world, with more than 400,000 holdings. The collections include silent film, animation, narrative and documentary features, movie trailers, avant-garde and LGBT materials, television sitcoms and dramas, and news and public affairs programs. And just a few examples of their amazing efforts that are part of the story of this magnificent archive. In 1981, the archive became the permanent home to one of the most significant historical resources of the 20th century, the massive Hearst Metrotone News Collection, which documents the fabric of life from 1915 through 1975. The archive provides footage from this collection to numerous film and television projects every year. It also partnered with the Sundance Institute to create the Sundance Collection at UCLA and the Directors Guild to create the DGA Motion Picture Industry Conservation Collection at UCLA. The archive is celebrated for its restoration efforts, and in 1988 staged its first biennial UCLA Festival of Preservation, inviting the general public to screenings of the archive's recent restoration work. Kenneth Turan of the Los Angeles Times noted, No other event in the country so consistently illuminates the irresistible hidden treasures of America's movie heritage, putting a spotlight on the drop-dead fascinating items unseen in decades and difficult to see after the festival. In 1989, the Archive opened its Archive Research and Study Center to UCLA's Powell Library, providing free access to more than 10,000 collections each year. That same year, the Archive was awarded an Emmy plaque for the restorations of several Fred Astaire films, including An Evening with Fred Astaire. In this century, the Archive has won further accolades for its restorations of independent works, and earning a number of Film Heritage Awards and a special citation from the National Society of Film Critics. And in 2005, the Archive partnered with Outfest to create the Outfest UCLA Legacy Project for LGBT film preservation, the largest publicly accessible collection of LGBT films in the world. The Los Angeles Film Critics Association presented the Archives a Legacy of Cinema Award for that project. And in my 5th Council District, the Archive presents more than 200 curated public screenings each year at UCLA's Billy Wilder Fielder in Westwood, screening the best of the classic and the new, the mainstream and the cutting edge, and focusing on programs that usually don't appear in commercial theater. So having accomplished so much already in the past half-century, UCLA's Film and Television Archives is certain to continue expanding on its tremendous record of achievement, thereby preserving, memorializing, and furthering the historic creative legacy of the motion picture and television arts. And now I'd like to invite Jan Christopher Horak. Actually, let me have Keith Parker speak first. Keith Parker, our Vice Chancellor from UCLA, will speak first, and then Jan Horak.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Mr. Parker.
Thank you, Council President Wesson and members of the LA City Council. On behalf of Chancellor Gene Block and the UCLA community, thank you for commemorating the UCLA Film and Television Archive. 50 years of film preservation, of film history, of film documentation. That's an incredible accomplishment, and we certainly appreciate our council member, Mr. Koretz, for bringing us into the council meeting today. Just over the last quarter at UCLA, there have been over 175 public programs related to the arts, programs in the area of dance, of music, theater, performing arts, and of course the film screenings that are sponsored by the Film and Television Archive. This archive is a part of a premier interdisciplinary global institute that studies and develops not only talent, but develops scholars, develops material, develops our ability to engage diverse voices that will help enlighten our world. As we continue to celebrate the amazing work of the Film and Television Archive, we invite you, the Council, to join us in any of our public programming and other events that may be screenings, it may be symposia, it may be other special events that we'll be conducting throughout the year. And let your constituents know that they certainly are welcome to join us at UCLA. Let me now introduce Jan Christopher Horak. Chris has been director of the Film and Television Archive since 2007. He's published over 250 articles and reviews about all manner of film in both national and international publications. He was most recently named the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Scholar in 2006 and has just completed a book entitled Saul Bass, Anatomy of Film Design. So for all of us that are film buffs that watch TCM, that look to see when old movies are being screened, this is our guy. This is the guy we can talk to because he can tell us the history of American film and bring you into the archive and show you the history of American film. Chris Horak.
Mr. Horak, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Assistant Vice Chancellor Parker, Council President Wesson, and members of the Los Angeles City Council. I'm very honored to be here, and a special thanks to Council Member Koretz. On behalf of UCLA Film and Television Archive staff and our partners and funders, I'm honored to be with you today to accept this important and appreciative recognition of the Archive's 5 decades of public service. UCLA Film and Television Archive is one of the largest moving image archives in the world and is dedicated to the notion that moving images constitute an integral part of our national culture as well as a vital cinema culture of Los Angeles, where so many of these images originated. Whether works of fiction, art, social document, or historical record, the archive preserves our rich media heritage by collecting, preserving, and providing access to these media for research, education, and entertainment. The archive's work is inextricably tied to and enhanced by its many Los Angeles area partnerships. We've developed crucial preservation and access initiatives with such nonprofits as the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, the Directors Guild of America, Outfest, and the Television Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Our fruitful collaborations with motion picture and television studios, including CBS, 20th Century Fox, Warner Brothers, Paramount, Sony, KTL, and Universal have ensured our ability to serve as caretakers of the nation's moving image patrimony. And as part of UCLA, a world-class institution, we are continually inspired by our colleagues' examples of scholarship, artistry, and public service. On the eve of our 50th anniversary, the Archive looks forward to the opportunities and challenges of our next 50 years as we embrace the digital frontier and continue with our cultural mission, preserving the past, present, and future through moving images. Thank you very much.
And now it's my pleasure to present this proclamation, and I'll read just a little bit of the resolved clause. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Los Angeles City Council hereby salutes UCLA Film and Television Archive and celebrates its transcendent role and contributions as a caretaker and champion of artistic expression and those creative industries which are of such crucial importance to this city. The city furthermore declares this day, December 4th, 2015, to be UCLA Film and Television Archive Day in the city of Los Angeles, and thanks UCLA, the Archive, and all the Archive's wonderful staff, partners, and benefactors past and present on this glorious 50th anniversary occasion. Let's give them all a big hand.
Absolutely beautiful.
Part of it is falling out.
Look at Betsy.
Move over.
Again, congratulations. You know, Madam Clerk, why don't we recess the regular meeting and go into the special?
Blumenfield, Bond, and Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Harris Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rue, Wesson. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, let's take up items 9 and 10.
And items 9 and 10 are items for which public hearings have been held. The Housing Committee reports for items 9 and 10 have been submitted and circulated for council consideration.
Thank you. Okay, members, let's prepare to vote on those items. Madam Clerk, if you'd open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, that is approved.
And, Mr. President, the
Yes.
ordinance will be held over for 1 week to December 11th.
Okay, let's move to item 11. I have cards on item 11. Mr. Murphy, if you're here. Mr. Previn and Mr. Walsh on item 11.
And as the speaker comes forward, item 11 is an item for which public hearing has not been held, so 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, that item is now before this body. Yes, go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. President. Item 11, it's a maybe.
Okay, Mr. Previn.
Yes, it's Eric Previn, a resident from CD2. And this item is in CD4, the great David Ruse district. Unfortunately, he's not here today. I was trying to ask him briefly, or somebody on his staff, about this. I checked in with Koretz's team, who were not 100% versed on exactly what's going on here. But this is just a request to see about acquiring some land, about 11 acres, up near, actually, Griffith Park. So this is obviously up in the hills. Sounds good, of course, because I have a good sense that this may protect some of our vital, nice land up there in the natural environment. But the question of how much it's going to cost to acquire it becomes a hot button issue in this our era, where we have substantial needs, in the Department of Homelessness. We have a lot of areas where we could acquire land and put it to very, very good use. Now, protecting the fine backyards of some of the neighbors is one priority, but I'm not sure it's the first and the most important priority. This group who's going to look at it is called GSD. It's run by a chap named Tony Royster, who does a commanding job of running a big and rangy department that handles our real estate needs. So I would ask that we just get a clear shot of what this might cost before the typical pattern, whereas a deal's worked out where virtually nobody knows except for the people who are pushing for it, and then, it's on an agenda where you can't speak on it. So that would be great. Have a good day. Thanks.
Mr. Walsh, item 11.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. This is a really sneaky item. This item is put in by Rue, and Koretz signed off on it. Notice neither of them are here because they don't want to vote for this because it's a deal. And it's a deal for their campaign contributors. Rue is turning out to be the worst disappointment in the history of City Council. Now, look at what it says. This is consideration of a motion relative to the feasibility of acquiring an 11-acre parcel of vacant land. In other words, they've been told that it's illegal to do this. So now they want the city attorney to say that it's legal to acquire this area of land and to turn it into a gigantic development. And I want to say to all my white friends, my white upper-class friends in that neighborhood, Mr. Rue, Honorable Rue, who's not here today, is going to destroy your neighborhood. Direct the Department of General Services to investigate. They're not in charge of investigation. The feasibility for the city to acquire 11 acres of development in your white nest up there near Griffith Park, the best park in the world, known as Mount Lee and adjacent to the Mount Lee Communication Center, which contains the city as well as other telecommunication facilities and towers. Now, not one of you assholes up here are going to ask the simple question, what the fuck's going on here? Why do you want this land? What's the purpose of this land? No one is. You're going to get down on your knees and suck Rue's 2-inch dick. HollywoodHighlands.org. Shove the 3 extra seconds up your ass.
All right. It's my understanding, Madam Clerk, there are 2 votes.
Correct. A substitute motion has been circulated.
Okay, let's open the roll on that. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Now we'll actually vote on the item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, let's adjourn the special and return to the regular. Mr. Cedillo.
Item 10 on the special.
It's gone. Yeah,
Can we do that forthwith? I just wanted to. I was remiss in noting forthwith.
Without objection, that'll be the order.
Thank you.
Okay, now let's go back into the, so we'll adjourn the regular and go back into we'll adjourn the special, go back into the regular. That brings us where?
Item 7 is called special for cards.
All right. Item 7, Mr. Previn. Mr. Walsh. Marion Fogler. Daniel. Mr. Gus. Item 7.
Thank you, sir. It's Eric Previn, a resident from CD2. Item 7 is the census item, correct? Do I have that correct? You have 2 agendas today, so I got a little confused. That is the census item, Dion, just so I don't go off topic? Okay, good. So, yeah, the county of Los Angeles is how they do the census of the big pie, and that's about 10 million, I think 116,000. Back when they did it last time, it was 9,800,000. So as you can see, it did increase. And I think we are anticipating when we do this new census yet another increase. There are a lot of interesting statistics that we've heard about recently regarding our census. The most compelling and painful, of course, is the 44,000 of people who are homeless in L.A. County. That has been a persistent and rising number that we are all fighting to control. It's important to know that we have in L.A. County 331,000, again, I think this is from the 2014 look, 331,000 veterans living in L.A. County. And we have, I think, 1.8 million or 1.9 million in California for reference. So we have a large percentage of our veterans. And, you know, I would say that as we look at this next round of census work, we should be mindful of how we can, you know, glean the most valuable information to struggle to continue in our struggle to deal with some of these issues. One statistic that caught my attention looking at last year's or the 14 census was we have something like 56% of people in L.A. County who speak a second language or a language other than English at home, which is amazing. I mean, that is a testament to what a melting pot we are here in Los Angeles, and I think we should keep that in mind.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Mr. Walsh, followed by Ms. Fogler.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. This concerns the 5 years from now, there's going to be a federal census. We want a full, accurate count of how many people here. Well, why? How many in the city? Because that's what when the federal money that comes to us is based on how many people are here. The 2000 census was a vast undercount. 5 years ago, it was much better. We must fight the undercount because we lose federal money. And we know that the undercount is mostly angry old white men who refuse to send it in, and young Hispanic families. So we want, again, when you do a good job up here, I'm the first to congratulate you. The first to congratulate you. I'm not, oh, you're all a bunch of crooks. No. When you do a good job, and you've done a good job, and you're starting early on making sure that we don't have an undercount here so that we can get all the money, and I don't need the full time. You know what you can do with the rest of my time.
Ms. Fogler?
I'm just so overwhelmed with all this grief and violence pervading our society today. Poor people out there need to be accounted for, and we need to get the census done right because my husband worked on it years ago and it needs to be done fair and not to be overcharged. Thank you.
Mr. Gus?
Good morning. This is another misguided City of Los Angeles effort to invade the privacy of private households. The City of Los Angeles gets involved in federal issues of its choosing. Remember the Arizona boycott? Remember you were supposed to boycott Arizona, the whole federal thing? But you're choosing to participate in the federal census. Government will invade as much as you allow them to invade. the city of Los Angeles does not have to participate in the census. They'll tell you they will, but it's only because the city wants money. They have no right to know how many people you have in your house. They'll tell you they do. I'm telling you they don't have a right to know. They don't have a right to know how many dogs or cats you have in your house. They don't have a right to know your ethnicity. The city of Los Angeles is misguided again, and it says departmental budgetary requirements. This money should be spent on the number one thing threatening the city right now, and it's not the census. It's our subways. We have a major soft target. Put this money, instead of counting heads 3 years from now, put it into getting guns and officers into the subway. Now, the city council didn't want to tell you the other day that City Hall was on high alert.
Stay on the subject.
This money would be better spent on immediate security so that we don't die. You're doing these head counts and you have no right to know. And by the way, to speak not to City Council but to the people watching, you have a First Amendment right not to participate in the survey, even though the City of Los Angeles is going to try to make you participate. You have a right to be quiet. You have a right not to answer your door. You have a right not to tell the city, the county, the state, or the federal government what your household is like. Don't participate in the survey.
Thank you. That concludes public comment. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, let's move on to item 8. I have Donna Pearman, Eric Previn, John Walsh, Miriam Fogler. Item 8.
Anyway, it says we don't have the money to do the public input, but we have the money for this. I want transparency. Why is there such increase needed for these services? We have over the 3DI Incorporated, it's an increase of $1,094,520 to the increase to $2,594,520. And then computer professionals is an increase of $819,092 to $2,319,092. What we need to know is who's paying for this, what exactly is this? Is this done private? And we'll ever really know why these things are here. And since there's not much being told here, I'm just keeping it down to 1 minute. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you. Mr. Previn, followed by Mr. Walsh and Ms. Fogler.
Good morning, sir. It's Eric Previn from CD2. This is interesting. This is 2 contracts, one with a 3DI and the other with RIDEC, which is formerly a group called Professional Computer Services or something like that, Computer Professionals Unlimited, Inc. And these are longtime city players who help with the programming. ITA, that's Mr. Ted Ross, runs that division. That's the same group that handles the Channel 35 telecasts are under your tight supervision. And what they have here is a contract that they'll be extending for 1 more year. I believe it was for she got the numbers correct, actually, there. But they have other contracts, and that's something that you should take note of. They have a nice big $5 million revolving door contract, which I looked at, which begs the question, why is it that we can't deploy that contract towards some of this HICLA money? But let's assume that that's okay. But I think that it's always a good, best practice to clarify the scope of work. This group also has a little deal where if the city wanted to hire its own employees, which has occurred to people before, it seems, because they've written in a clause in the agreement that says if somebody from one of the firms wants to come on board at the city, if you'd have them, which I know it's hard to get on the city civil service chart there, if that were to happen, there's a $2,000 per employee penalty. Now, that seems very low, so why more people don't do that is unclear, but nonetheless, we are farming out this work with great regularity to this group, and it's sort of an as-needed basis. I much prefer where we have specific needs and contracts for those needs, because then they can be monitored and benchmarked and scrutinized by just regular members of the public and other individuals in the IT business who might want to be competitive. Now, these were originally RFP'd. I looked, but you know, it's a lot of business, and we ought to be looking at it closely. Thank you,
Mr. Walsh, followed by Ms. Fogler.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. As the previous speaker, Mr. Previn, pointed out, this is essentially, you have to do the math yourself, $1,094,520, and then you add in the $819,000. It's about over $2 million cost overrun, but I really think that, and this money will eventually go down to the people who run this channel here at Channel 35, on my cable system, Channel 35. And I think they do an excellent job of censoring what I say, censoring, the Murphys came here in the 18th century and fought for the right of anybody in this country to call King George a fucking asshole.
Stay on the subject.
Okay? And the subject is that free speech, when you vote on this, you are giving money to the Channel 35 people who violate free speech and try to sodomize me. I'm not
Stay on the subject. Thank you, Mr. Walsh. I already warned you. Okay, come on, Ms. Fogler. Marianne, you going to speak on this subject? If you're going to talk to yourself, Mr. Walsh, do it quietly. Ms. Fogler?
Yeah, I don't appreciate being edited and giving the money here for Channel 35. So, especially when I don't use profanity.
You're not on the
courtesy.
subject.
That's right. I'm a nice lady, and you know that.
Ms. Fogler, just stay on the subject. That's all.
Okay. What I'm just saying is, put the money where we need to have it here, so we have freedom of speech, and keep the First Amendment and all the Bill of Rights intact.
Thank you. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Madam Clerk, that brings us where?
General public comment.
Okay, we'll start off with Lorna Paisley, followed by Mr. Murphy. Please come forward. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Members of the LA City Council, I am here to ask you to use your influence to stop the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the TPP. Word coming out of COP21 in Paris is that the climate change conditions are worse than we thought. Of 29 chapters in the TPP, 24 give corporations power over local, state, and national laws. They can sue for loss of future profits, and the case is settled by corporate tribunals. Our Clean Air and Water Acts and our Endangered Species Act are at risk. Corporations are already attacking clean air rules and anti-mining laws. There will be more logging, and we need the trees to clean the air. More drilling and mining and dumping of waste into rivers and streams. Cheap labor abroad will use up more natural resources, create more e-waste, and cause more shipping and air and water pollution and job loss. The environmental policy in the agreement are weak in compliance with no enforceable. There is no penalties for noncompliance.
Thank you. Sean, followed by Daniel Gus, followed by Candido Mariz. Yes, Sean.
It's good to have the meetings here in Van Nuys. I don't know why you people can't open up video conferencing at here at City Hall. I mean, the rains are coming. Lancaster Boulevard gets flooded. You can't even cross the street to get to the Red Line train. And I will not, when it rains like cats and dogs, I will not be able to come downtown.
Okay. Mr. Gus, followed by Mr. Mariz.
60 seconds, there we go. I want to take my hat off to Marquise Harris Dawson and give him a huge compliment for looking into the humane crises in South LA. Phyllis Doherty wrote a great article in City Watch LA about Mr. Harris Dawson's efforts to do what Bernie Parks ignored his entire time on City Council. The problem is LA Animal Services is not going to give Mr. Harris Dawson the truth. I have a 66-page report which will show you that Best Friends, the poor people across the city, are subsidizing Best Friends. Here's Best Friends' tax return. They raked in $259,474,991 in the last 5 years alone. And Mr. Harris Dawson's district is the worst cared for in the city. There's a lot of information here. Ron Galperin refused to audit it because it would embarrass Mayor Garcetti. I'd be thrilled to share it with Mr. Harris Dawson. Hats off to you. Great job, and I appreciate what you're trying to do.
Candido, followed by Mr. Previn, followed by Donna Pearman.
Good morning, Mr. President,
Morning.
council members. Candido Mayor's proud resident of the 12th District, and thank you for being here in the San Fernando Valley, and happy holidays to all of you. 30 years ago, I moved into Porter Ranch, and I thought my wife and I had achieved the American dream, and then disaster set in. Families disasters, and then we had the '94 earthquake, and now we have the gas leak, Mr. President. And this is my past and future now since then. This is the medication I took last month. This is the medication I take this month. This leak has been happening for at least a year. I have it documented. I've talked to the police department and to the gas company, and they've apologized in the past and saying that they were releasing the gas, but we knew there was something bigger there. So what I'm asking you, Mr. President, and all of you as the leaders of the greatest city and the greatest country in the world, you need to protect the children and the families of Porter Ranch, because even though you represent the 1st District, the 5th District, or the 15th District, those children and those families in Porter Ranch belong to you as much as anybody else.
Thank
I
you.
hope that you'll check into this, Mr.
sir.
President. Thank you.
Okay,
one last thing.
Candida, thank you very much. Mr. Previn, Ms. Pearman, Ms. Fogler.
Yes, it's Eric Previn. This is the public comment, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So obviously here in our region, this horror show in San Bernardino has got everybody freaking out, myself included. And, you know, even as this council was sitting trying to implement some rules to make it harder to get guns, this horrifying thing took place. You know, I just want to direct the attention to anybody who is thinking that, you know, more guns would be better to help protect against this kind of outburst. Just remember what the old codger Ronald Reagan, who many revere on both sides of the aisle, said about that. And he was a big leader and a kind of an odd break with his ordinary group on this point, which was, I can't remember the exact quote, but I think if you look it up, you'll see that the idea is we have to control access to this kind of ordinance, period. We have 30 or however many it is. It's way too many, and we have to get them off the streets. We should be buying them back. Zuckerberg and his 45
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Ms. Pearman, followed by Ms. Fogler, followed by Mr. Walsh, John Walsh.
I want everyone to look at politicalislam.com or Google what Syrians are doing in Europe, raping, murdering, pillaging in the name of Allah. Now Obama and Governor Brown and approved Garcetti are Syrians are coming to Los Angeles. Our subways are soft targets. Beware. $19 million. U.S. is $19 million in debt, and we have people here who need help. It costs for the Syrians over $64,000 per person per year to be here. Taxpayers are picking up the tab. Per Matt Vespa, the cost of resettling the U.S. is 12 times the cost of resettling in a neighboring Middle Eastern country. 91.4% receive food stamps, 73.1% receive on Medicaid, 68% receive cash assistance, 36.7% receive temporary assistance to needy families, 32.1% receive SSI, which means they have Social Security numbers, 18.7% live in public housing. Most are young and males, not women and children who are here.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Walsh, you're there. Mr. Fogler, you're next. Ms. Fogler, you're next. Go ahead, Mr. Walsh.
Jay Walsh, Confidential, right here. Last Wednesday, late afternoon, the City Hall was placed on high alert because of the massacre in San Bernardino. Public was told that it wasn't. When I tried to speak under public comment about this, Mr. Fuentes stopped me. He's a lover of terrorism. I'm telling you, we could have all been killed. And the press left immediately. without the public being told that we were on high alert. Let me say, I'm a Jew. I'm a Hungarian Jew. And I want you to know that all Muslims are taught to hate Jews. They're taught to hate you, Mr. Koretz. And if you don't have the guts to say that all Muslims, and I'm telling you that Saeed Farouk was radicalized and married in Mecca and trained to come here by his
Don't
wife.
spit in the microphone.
By his
Thank
wife.
you.
Fuck you.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Ms. Fogler, and be careful when you get to the mic. Ms. Fogler, you going to speak? Come on.
He does have some validity there, but excuse his profanity. Anyway, what I'm saying is that we're going to be under Sharia law, and they're going to go after the Jews. Of course they are. The bad Quran. It's under politicalislam.com. There's two parts of the Quran, the Mecca and the Medina. You need to learn this. This is very serious. Going to have to build a third temple because the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, is in very much danger from Sharia law. Right now, we got two cities already under Sharia law, and this is unconstitutional right now because the Constitution is still in effect. Once the Muslims become majority here under the Medina Quran, they'll vote the U.S. Constitution out, and you want to disarm the law-abiding citizens to protect themselves from these monsters. You can't do that. We're going to have to all have gun permits. We're going to have to get rid of all the 20,000 gun laws, the gun control laws, and allow every citizen to carry guns, because that's the only way we're going to stop this.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes general public comment. Madam Clerk, that brings us where?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
They are posted and referred.
The desk is clear.
Okay, now it's time for announcements. I do want to quickly thank the members of the West Hills Neighborhood Council for inviting me last night, and Joanne Garb in particular for a wonderful dinner that I had. They're phenomenal people, and I had a great time. Hope to see you again soon. Mr. Blumenfield?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have an announcement. Unfortunately, it's a missing person announcement. It's for Julia Karwitha, who came from Kenya to visit her family in Reseda, and her trip was expected to last into mid-January. Unfortunately, she went missing on November 1st, and she was last seen approximately at 8:30 a.m. the 7900 block of Reseda Boulevard near Strathern Street. She's 66 years old, 5 foot 3 inches, and approximately 120 pounds. She's from Kenya. She was last seen wearing a brown hat, brown scarf, green sweater, black pants, and blue shoes. The family is looking for her, and they asked us to try to help find her and make this announcement. They suspect that she may be in the early stages of dementia. Unfortunately, she does not speak English. If you have any information, please contact LAPD's Missing Person Unit. I'm just told she does speak English. Missing Persons Unit at 213-996-1808. The division after hours is 213-484-6700, and her picture is going to be displayed on the screen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blumenfield. Mr. Fuentes.
President, just wanted to invite you colleagues and anybody who's listening that tomorrow between 9 and noon at the Pacoima City Hall, we are opening a brand new social enterprise. In our city facility, we have a new coffee shop and juice bar that it's opened. Cafecito Orgánico and Fruta y Cultura. It's a juice bar and a coffee shop that employs 80% youth from the Youth Policy Institute on the workforce development side. And on the juice side, we are working with families in the community of Pacoima to obtain food stock for the juice bar. So it keeps the prices down, does an awful lot to accomplish some of the challenges that we've got in the district, and it does it by celebrating the great street that is Van Nuys Boulevard. So everybody's welcome from 9 to noon.
That's great. Mr. Huizar?
Thank you, Mr. President. Congratulations, Mr. Fuentes. And inviting people from Northeast Los Angeles. There are 2 tree-lighting events tonight. One is at Herman Church in Herman at 7 p.m. and in Eagle Rock at 7:30. We invite all families to come out. Santa will be there. He's coming out a bit early this year. Also, tomorrow we have a holiday open house in our Boa Heights City Hall. So anyone from Boa Heights who'd like to drop by, Santa decided to drop by a little early, so he'll be there as well. along with some other festivities. So invite everyone from that neighborhood to come on by to Bow Heights City Hall. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weezer. Members, any other announcements? If we could all please rise. And if everyone could please rise before we move into our regular adjourning motions. I do think that it's appropriate, even though we do this far too often, to request a moment of silence for those that lost their lives and their families in San Bernardino. So I would invite or ask everyone to please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. I'm looking towards Mr. Weezer, your side, to see if there are other adjourning motions on my right side. I do not see any. I'm looking to Mr. Fuentes' side. I don't see any adjourning motions. Members, this meeting is adjourned.